Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and a blessed new year to you. We are so delighted that you have welcomed us into your home, and we hope and pray that things are slowing down and you haven't gone full speed ahead and you're just being still. We certainly would love to hear from you, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Well, today is going to be part 2 of our year in review for 2022.
Yes, we'll be sharing about personal growth and healing and God's power made perfect in weakness, learning from people with disabilities. Well, everyone can relate to the first show that we're going to see on anger. So everybody's going to be angry at some point. Is it righteous anger? Is it just anger, frustration? Something's supposed to turn out one way, it's turning out another way. So we're going to face anger and frustration. How are we going to do anger and frustration?
Yeah. Well, I love Dr. Ray Guarendi, who everyone knows, and he is so wonderful and he is so wise. And he talks about anger. Is it nurture? Is it nature? How do you learn it? How some people can get so mad so fast, and maybe, and he was sharing this on one of his shows, where people just kind of live it at 8, and then when something happens, they explode. When other people, it could just kind of roll off their back, and it's not going to affect them. And so we learn those things about ourselves. We can't blame it on the way we were raised, or our personality, or on nationality, or whatever we want to blame it on. We have to be conformed into the image of Jesus. And that's the beautiful thing that EWTN teaches us all. I consume EWTN as much as I work here. I enjoy the journey of holiness. I'm learning about my interior journey, I'm learning about my spiritual journey, and hopefully I'm becoming a better human being as you are. And EWTN brings that to us in ways that we can become better human beings and hopefully be a better version of ourselves.
Well, when we come back after the break, I'll mention the other couple and their show under the heading Personal Growth and Healing. And then we have the other heading theme, God Made Perfect in Weakness, People with Disabilities. And we're doing more and more with people with disabilities because we believe in the sacredness and dignity of every human being and the special gifts that God gives to people with disabilities, especially children, and the purity that's there. So plenty more to come. We'll be right back. There'll be excellent teachings, and you're going to be blessed by seeing them. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, now we're going to bring you some more segments that we have. One on personal growth and healing with Dr. Ray Guarendi, and then that show first aired in May, and then Dr. Daniel and Bethany Miola, and they were giving us life-giving wounds. It's a beautiful ministry, and that ministry first aired in September.
Well, I think we've lined them up pretty well, so we want to see the experts in their fields, Dr. Ray Guarendi and Dr. Daniel and Bethany Miola, the important messages that they share that we can continue to mature and grow and be healed in Jesus Christ. So let's take a look at these clips.
If I want to be a good follower of Christ, I got to watch my mouth. I got to watch my spitfire emotions. And so people think that anger is an emotion. They think it's just something that percolates and fires off. Well, in fact, anger is very much a thought. The thought precedes the anger. How dare you say that about me? I don't deserve that. I'm not like that. That was a mean thing you said to me. All these thoughts percolate in my head. The emotion follows. When the emotion follows, that's when I'm most likely to say something that I'm going to go 3 weeks later Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's a great point, because we often hear that emotions are neutral. They're not good. They're not bad. What you do with the emotions, and maybe there's some truth in that, but you bring it up into the head.
Ooh.
So
Well, let me put it to you this way, Jim. What if I said to my wife, honey, I have this emotion that is lust. But I'm not going to act on it, okay? I just want you to know I'm not going to act on it, but I just have it. Now, you need to feel comfortable with that because emotions just are, okay? They're neither good nor bad. They just are. And she says to me, well, Ray, I have this bitterness inside towards you, and it just is like bile, but I'm not going to act on it, so you don't have to worry about it. No, I think that is a big misconception. Some emotions are very destructive. Simple way to split it up, Joy. Righteous anger typically is because somebody else is being hurt. I don't like the fact that Jim talked to you that way. Right-filled anger is if Jim talks to me that way. See, right-filled anger is I'm looking out for myself. I'm not looking out for you, which would be righteous anger. When our Lord tipped over the money changers' temples, he was angry because what they were doing to his Father.
So let me get it. I think I got the righteous anger. The right-filled anger is that I'm expressing this because it's offending me, and so I'm saying it, and so I'm hurt. This is going to come out.
I'm offended. I talk about that in the book a lot.
Okay.
We as Christians should be the least offended people because we follow a perfect human being who was terribly assaulted, not only verbally, but physically. As far as I know, nobody wants to kill me. So for me to be offended is essentially saying, you don't do that to me. I don't deserve that. I'm a better person than that. I can't believe you said that. Why would you say that about me? If I'm going to be offended, I'm going to take it personally, and I'm basically going to say, don't do that to me. Depends who you're venting toward. The psalmist is venting toward the Lord. All right? He's not seeking out people to say, all right, come over here in front of my face, and I'm going to let you have it.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, and Joy, you bring up a wonderful point. Typically, we say, if you're going to express your feelings, do them with diplomacy, do them with delicacy, do them with charity. Yes, however, and this is a big but, don't keep doing it. I can't tell you how many relationships have frayed because someone says, well, I tell them how I feel, and I say it in a nice way. Well, how many times have you told them? 34. I think you should have stopped at 2.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. Yeah, what happened to that love that was lost? In my family growing up, there was tremendous amount of love, but there was also definitely moments of high conflict, and it was, it wasn't a clean either or. It was kind of both. But that was a question I had, like, what makes love love? And in terms of like my own identity, something I really grappled with, I'm the fruit of this marriage bond, but this marriage bond no longer exists. What does that mean for me?
Right.
And why was I mean, this is a question I remember I had. Why was I not worth the effort of sticking together? Maybe there's something wrong with me. So I had a lot of self-condemnation towards myself, that there was something wrong with me. I had a lot of false guilt. There's this phenomenon us children of divorce face where we feel guilty somehow for our parents' divorce, and to the outside world, it's like, well, why? This is the parents' decision.
Yeah, right.
And it happens for a lot of different reasons. We feel like we could have done more about it. We feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have spoken up about all their conflicts and that contributed to it. Some of us, our parents involve us in the decision making. But for me, it was, my dad's attempt to sort of explain the rationale for the divorce. He always would say, like, I did this for you. But I took that literally as a child. Like, where did he get this idea? Because I wanted them to work it out. So I had just tons of guilt and shame that really racked me and just manifested itself angry. But I kept it all in for 6 years, didn't talk to anybody. This is another phenomenon. We keep a lot of the pain in our hearts. We walk around very silent about this pain. We in the ministry call this the wound of silence. So it was a lot of that mess of identity going on.
Some of the main things that we talk about in Life-Giving Wounds, in addition to the impact on faith and identity, is impact on relationships. So we use the phrase self-protective behaviors. A lot of times, children who are coming from broken homes, it's understandably hard to be open to trusting someone else, to being intimate, keeping people at arm's length because they've been hurt in their family of origin. So we talk about that a lot in Life-Giving Wounds. Also the impact on emotions, the increase in anxiety, especially if people come from homes that everything seemed fine until one day it wasn't and their parents were splitting up. That deep anxiety that can cause about any good thing, it cannot be trusted that it's not going to last. We talk about anger. We talk a lot about forgiveness, and we talk about honoring your parents. What does that mean? What does the Lord call us to?
Wow.
And what does that look like in circumstances that perhaps our parents did not live out their calling as the Lord, it means for parents to be loving and present for their children. So all of those things, there's so much. It hits at so many different levels of a person's really being and identity that we really try to go deep in all of those different areas.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, there may need to be some boundaries. We also talk about how to deepen relationships with parents, how to have honest and open discussions with them. So there's a lot of different areas, and to back up a little bit too, again, relationships. We really see the effect on relationships, and that was one of our main reasons for founding this ministry for Life-Giving Wounds, is to help the children divorce in their own marriage and family, because they're more at risk.
Right.
From 40% to 80%, they're more likely to divorce. So they're much more at risk, so they need extra help. Now they can go on and have beautiful, amazing marriages. We're living proof, but it takes work.
Right.
And as a church, we need to get in those trenches and help them, so they don't just get on like an even playing field, but just go on and have a great marriage.
Right.
And work on things that maybe even people from intact, loving homes take for granted.
Well, I hope we all both learned, right, ways that we can heal and grow on this journey to holiness. Dr. Ray Guarendi is full of wisdom and knowledge. And then also the Miolas, Dr. Daniel and Bethany, how they shared with us the life-giving wounds when people of adults, right, adult children
Of divorce,
and how they were wounded. And so no matter where you are on your journey, it's always a good time to say, I need to deal with this. Maybe I am overly angry. Maybe I am impatient. Maybe I have a wound that happened in my childhood. And these are areas that I need to let the Lord come into and heal.
And I like the name of the ministry, because it is a wound to be a child of divorce, and finally to be able to give voice and how this has impacted your life. But they say life-giving wounds. Even our wounds for the Lord Jesus Christ, as we place them into the wounds of Christ, that they can become life-giving. We're not looking for those wounds, but God will take everything in its time and make it beautiful, turn it to its good purpose and end. We're going to take a break at this point. We'll be coming back with a few more shows. Please don't go away. Welcome back. So now we look at some more shows that are our best of shows. God's power made perfect in weakness is the theme. Learning from people with disabilities. Lifting up the sacredness and dignity of those with disabilities. Kurt Condrich was sharing with us, witnessing to his daughter Chloe, her life, who has Down syndrome, first aired in July. And boy, as I think about that show in particular and getting to know Chloe, I think of that phrase, blessed are the pure in heart, because they will see God. Second show is Brian and Marie Beta and their daughter Suki, who has Rett syndrome. They have the Suki Foundation, and Suki can understand and hear everything you're saying, but she can't respond to it and communicate with it. So again, we're going to focus on two young people with disabilities who are persons sacred, made in the image and likeness of God. Know you're going to be informed and moved. Let's take a look at these two shows.
So when Chloe was born, I said we refused the prenatal diagnosis because we knew Chloe was our daughter. We knew that. And we got a postnatal. But after Chloe was born, we started connecting with families who had children with Down syndrome. And by connecting with them, I connected with several that had prenatal diagnosis. And I asked them, well, what did happen when you had that? And every single one, didn't matter where they lived geographically. I connected with families in other countries. Every family told me that when they got a prenatal diagnosis, it was almost assumed you were going to abort the child. And they were basically, told to go abort the child. So I just, like I said, I consider that a prenatal death sentence where, the evidence, you failed a test, so therefore you're going to be executed. And like I said, it greatly disturbed me. I'm watching my daughter Chloe grow. I'm seeing her connection with her brother, her mother, and the light and joy she's bringing to my family. And I thought, this is something has to be stopped. It's eugenics. Yes. Is what it is. Identifying, targeting, and killing an individual because they don't meet the cultural mandate. It has to be stopped. And I just remembered the mission that God had placed in me as a law enforcement officer to defend and protect. And I remember telling my wife, I said, I have to stop this. I'm going to do something about it. I remember she's like, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pray about this and see where God leads me. And I left my policing career and dedicated my life to this. And it's been rough, but God has opened the doors. He's been faithful. He's guided us, and he's used us incredibly to address this prenatal genocide against these children. And just I think really has exposed what it is. And I think it's been instrumental also in helping to topple the whole culture of death recently with Roe v. Wade, because Chloe and I have spoken all over the country. We've actually spoken to the United Nations in New York City twice. And as I kept hearing these, I call them horror stories of people being told to terminate their child upon a prenatal diagnosis. Automatically my goal was to end abortion and this happening, but I thought the first thing we could do is we can start educating people into the joy and the goodness and all the supports available. So Chloe and I we just started going to the Pennsylvania Capitol here and meeting with legislators. I don't consider this a political issue. I'll make that very clear. This is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. This is a life issue. This is God's issue. So we started meeting with legislators, policymakers, and I started sharing stories of Chloe's abilities, the joy she brings. I had her meet with them and talk to them and read to them. And doing that, we came up with the idea of the Down syndrome prenatal education law. That was something I just came up with in the middle of the night. God put it on my heart. And I thought, well, at the very least, when a woman and a family gets a prenatal diagnosis, they should be given factual, supportive, uplifting information of all the positive things and available. And we advocated for that starting in November of 2013. In July of 2014, about 7 months later, the law was passed in the House, passed in the Senate, overwhelming majority, and on the governor's desk to be signed. And he signed it, and Chloe signed it. And I said that there in itself was a miracle. If you're from Pennsylvania, it takes 100 years to get anything passed. But this little girl, by meeting, it was almost like Tiny Tim changing Scrooge's heart. She met with these individuals, and she changed their hearts, and they saw her for what she is, not a statistic, but a priceless individual, a young lady with many abilities, and a child of God. And yeah. I really, and Chloe's law has led to this whole thing with Down syndrome and the prenatal eugenic movement against it on just not our state level, but on a national level and on a global level. That's how God is used.
So Brian and I have been married for almost, 19 years now. We have 5 daughters, and our 4th daughter, Sarah Catherine, wasn't really developing like my other girls were. Around 10 months old, I noticed that she was not walking. My other 3 older ones were walking really early. So I kind of just knew in my heart that something wasn't right. My background is in physical therapy, so I had a little bit of knowledge of muscle tone and all of that. And when I saw that her legs were weaker, I just took her to the pediatrician and said something's not right. And it was just my gut that kept telling me something's not right. Now Brian, he just thought she's the 4th child, she's fine, she'll be good, but
she's going to go at her own pace.
She's going to go at her own pace. She's more laid back like me, and it just turned out that through various, it was a long process, but through different genetic testing and a lot of research, that it came up that she ended up having Rett syndrome. She had all the red flags in my eyes that said she has Rett syndrome. And it's more of a neurological disorder that affects girls, like you said earlier, and it affects almost every system in their body, from their GI tract. Most of the girls have feeding tubes. They don't communicate verbally. They don't have hand use. Many of them are in wheelchairs. And so it was going to be a long journey once we got that diagnosis.
So this is a genetic disorder.
It's a genetic mutation, randomly happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if for Marie had a better understanding of maybe what was coming. It hit me really hard when I heard the doctors say, your child has Rett syndrome. I'll never forget that day. It was a day that, I put her to sleep that night, and I was sobbing like a 2-year-old in her room. And I came downstairs to see my other children, and they wanted to know what was going on. We were in front of our icon corner, praying about Suki and for our family, and I explained to them this, we might have to push Suki in a wheelchair. She wasn't walking at that time. And my second oldest daughter looked at me and said, that's fine, I'll push her. The pure innocence of our children really helped me redefine the dreams that I had for my child. We as parents have expectations and wants for our children. We want them to get an education. We want them to get married. We want them to do those things in life. And those wants for us and for me changed immediately. I want my daughter to be able to walk. I want my daughter to get the food and nourishment that she needs daily. I want her to be happy and live a joyful life. That was, for me, a very defining moment, in understanding what the wants are for my daughter. The girls, they have always been very accepting. Suki's her sister. There's nothing different about her. It's been a beautiful thing to watch Suki teach our kids, things that we may not have ever been able to teach them. Just the simple abilities to see people for who they are and not what they are. To see, just to see them interact with her. Suki goes everywhere we go. She's treated no different. We go to the beach, Suki's right next to us. We go to a theme park, Suki's on a roller coaster. We take her, there's nothing different. And our girls see that, and they respect that and they love that. And it's also changed them personally, how they see the world. They see a world without disabilities. They see a life without limits. They see opportunities in individuals that otherwise other people may say, oh, well, that person's bound to a wheelchair, or that person's this. My girls don't see that. It's a blessing of what Suki has taught them and taught us from that regard.
Well, those were very enriching, and I hope that you get to see how important every human life is and the purpose that every life has. 90% of the children that are diagnosed with Down syndrome today in the United States are aborted. And so Chloe's life, what a gift she is to her family, what a gift she was to the police officer and their family, and what she saw and what she knew. And that was such a beautiful story. And then the betas and sharing about the Rett syndrome and their beautiful daughter, Suki. And so we all come with conditions, all of us. Nobody's perfect. And God places us all in our families to bring out the greater good in all of us, and that we would see the image of God in every human being.
Thank God for EWTN. I mean, really, thank God that they lift up the sacredness and dignity of every human being, especially those who are weak and vulnerable. Not only do we lift them up as Catholics and as EWTN, but Jesus says that he's in the least. That the lesser you are, it seems like the more vivid Jesus Christ is. If you could change the way you see, the circumstance, situation may not change, but you'll change and you'll see Jesus Christ. Thanks for beginning the new year with us. We look forward to all the time that God gives us together. We pray God's blessings upon you and upon all your loved ones. Pray that you would have the peace that passes human understanding, that's not dependent upon any circumstance or situation. It's the peace that only Christ can give. This world can't give it. The world can't take it away. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You're never alone, and you're always at home with Jim and with joy. Bye now.